Hey everybody, welcome to Trans in the Am Friendly Friday. I hope you're all having a wonderful week so far. This week I have with me Ren. We're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things. How you doing today, Ren?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. Well, I know we had just did a oopsie and we were talking about your YouTube channel. You said you do a Booktube channel, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
You want to
Uh, so oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead? Yeah.
Yeah, so my BookTube channel focuses mainly on my own reading, but I also want to kind of expand and kind of do more like educational content too surrounding like books because I am library tech um by like profession.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I'm working retail at the moment, so it's not entirely something that I do at the moment, but I do have a diploma up there
Nice.
saying that saying that I did the thing and did the
Mm-hmm.
schooling for library school. So I like to say I do have some experience. So yeah, it's been really fun, and I this earlier this week I filmed for the first time in a long time, which was really exciting. I've been on extended hiatus, but yeah,
Very nice. Yeah, that's awesome. No, I love the feeling of finally getting something on the channel. Just finally getting something out there. The feeling of like having an upload complete and like being able to just like sit back and like stretch a little bit. Oh, I love it. It feels so good.
yeah, I love that feeling too. It's like a weight almost being lifted, and you're like just kind of like so excited.
Right,
So excited to
exactly.
see creativity, to see, like, something put out there into the world, and to have, like, people comment on it too, is really exciting as well.
Right, yeah. Well, what kind of writing do you usually like? Like for recreation, would you read like nonfiction or more fiction books?
Um, I'm trying to read more nonfiction, but mainly I do read, fiction books. I'm trying to, like, branch out into many different genres. I typically stick with, contemporary, so, like, modern day. Um, I also like a bit of, like, fantasy, paranormal fantasy is kind of my, like, guilty pleasure is not a real thing, but, like, guilty pleasure
Right.
kinda thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also like, I believe I said magical realism, and, yeah, I just really enjoy kind of a lot of variety. I'm trying to, like, stick my toes into everything to see what I like because reading, I find, is a journey, and we have to figure out what we like, and consuming a lot of other people's content and hearing book recommendations and reading lots of varieties of books, I feel like I can find diverse titles and like uh new titles and stuff that I might like that I would never heard of before being in the book community. So that was really really exciting to discover booktube, and it heightened my reading to a point where I was like, yeah, like I can I can list off all these books, and then people are like, "Wait, I've never heard of that because it's not on the New York Times bestseller, it's not like on TV. It's like an I have like insider info, I like to say."
Nice. That is really cool. You've got like
Yeah,
the 411 on what's happening in the book community, right?
for
Nice.
sure, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, I really enjoy like reading for recreation. It kind of like brings out a part of me that doesn't really come out that often. I don't really engage with that. I feel like it's taking into a different self almost sometimes when you go in to read and you like experience
Exactly.
things differently as like a different person almost. And it's like it almost feels vulnerable. to a point
Oh,
where
yeah.
you're putting your defenses out there and you're learning, you're almost experiencing life through the footsteps or the eyes of another, when you're reading, and
Yes.
it's so interesting. I really empathize
Mhm.
with that, like meeting new people, really expanding your horizons and like changing the things you read and the things you experience. Like, I was really turned on to a book called A Man Called Ove. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. I haven't read any, Frederick Bachman, but I have heard of the book, and I've heard, like, so many people, like, raving about it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely on my list.
It was really great. Yeah, if I could give you a recommendation to bump that up. It's a pretty short read. It's a short story. But
Okay.
they also did, I don't know if you're familiar, but they did an Amazon video adaptation of the book. So there's like a film
Oh, yeah,
adaptation of it.
yeah, I am familiar, I believe I've heard of the adaptation, yes.
Hmm.
I just haven't seen anything about it. I like to go in completely blind with
Hmm.
books. Like, if I haven't heard about something for a while, I can totally dive in and, like, just experience the book as if I haven't read the description or the blurb. So, I'm glad that you really liked that novel, and I'll definitely bump it up because it been on my radar.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's really cool. I really like when you when there's a book that has like a film adaptation. I like reading the book first and like seeing all the things in my mind's eye, and then like watching the film after and seeing like if anything that I thought would line up with how the producer, the director uh shot the film. Like that's really a lot of fun in my opinion.
Yeah, I find that really fun too. Um I almost like even if, like, something has, like, drastically changed from my mind's eye, I still, like, treat it as a sort of different extension, alternate universe of the
Mhm.
original story, the written novel, because it's so fascinating what people can create from based on others' work. I find it a great pleasure to watch book to movie adaptations, book to show adaptations, etc., because it's just so cool to see all the creativity that can be shared based on just one thing that someone decided to write and publish, and yeah, it's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I imagine as an author, it has to be like some form of humbling, right? To like have your work
Oh, yeah.
be approached by another artist and be like, "Hey, I really enjoy your work. I want to adapt it in my own style. Let's work together." Like that's really I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing what people can create just, like, from their mind's eye, from their lived experience, from just having that spark of inspiration. That's kinda, like, what I kinda want to do. I kinda wanna write at some point in my life, but, I've tried, as a teenager, of course.
Mhm.
I have diaries, I have, um, stories from unfinished stories from when I was a teenager, but, like, seeing all this diversity in there's still a long way to go, but there's still a lot of diversity coming out now in publishing that it's amazing what stories can be told and what kind of awareness we can share with stories, not just like fiction, but with nonfiction, but with like characters who have similar experience to oneself. It's really fun.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people think that like after a point, every single story that could possibly be told will have been told. But I disagree. I think that there's always going to be some form of variance there in the lived experience, in the way that the person tells the story. I don't know. I think that every story is unique. And, whether it's culturally perceived as good or bad. Like, I think ultimately it represents a part of vulnerability from the author and putting that work out there for other people to see, you know?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like uh, authors are really like putting putting their heart on the page with what they write, and I am a very optimistic person. I like to hope that people write for the sake of opening others' hearts too, and like opening minds, and I really agree with that.
Absolutely. Well, cool. No, I think it's awesome that we're on the same page about that. That's and not to make a book pun, but there we go. Yeah. Um, so if we could, let's move on to a slightly different topic. I'd like to ask you a little bit about your experience as a trans person, if you don't mind sharing with us a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What would you like to ask?
Well, let's start off with how did you come to realize that you were a trans person?
Well, uh, I kind of realized it around the time when I came out as asexual. Um, Before that, I had come out to my family and my partner as bisexual, and living through going through an actual relationship and seeing how I kind of sort of fit within that relationship, it was like, okay, maybe, yeah, I think I'm ace. And then I started thinking more, okay, I kind of got this like sexuality thing settled, but I've kind of felt this like weird feeling in the back of my brain that was like, wait, are you like, is there something else that's not right, or like what else is going on, because I'm still not feeling my authentic self. I'm still feeling something's up. So I came out as ace in 2018, and so I've been thinking and kind of uh throughout the uh, throughout the years and in the pandemic, especially, I was thinking more and more about my identity and like my gender, and thinking more and more about like what does it mean to be um born like as a person who was assigned female at birth. What does it mean to be female? And I was thinking about, like, I don't feel that way. I don't but I don't feel like a guy either. Like, so I was feeling a lot of confusion. I was feeling a lot of just like depression, because I do have other mental health. I have mental health issues. I have anxiety and depression, and I'm in the process of trying to figure out what else is going on, because it is a lot. And so I've been having these thoughts of like, oh well, you're not really feeling this way. It's like your mental health kind of skewing things in your brain. And I thought, no, no, something is going on. Like, something is going on within myself, that I feel like I don't like my body how it is now. I don't like the societal expectations that are put upon me. I don't like when people call me by my dead name. I don't like people who assume things about me before they even meet me, when they hear my voice, when they hear how I carry myself, when they hear how I talk. I don't want to feel that way. So I'm like, what if I'm not cis? What if there's something else? And I sort of looked into it and I'm like, yeah, maybe, because I had a friend, more than a few friends in high school who came out as non-binary when they were in high school, and I kind of had that sort of experience, and I'm like, being a supportive friend and having that ability to advocate for that person. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I feel like if maybe if I'm feeling this way, maybe that's how they felt in in that sense. And I was like, okay, let's look more into this. And then just around sort of near Christmas time, when like Christmas time 2020, I got engaged to my partner, and I had told him a few months before that I was like, "Hey, I want to try and use they them pronouns along with she her just to see how I feel, you know." And he's like, "Okay." Because, he's always been so supportive with everything, and I'm so lucky to have him, and like, he is the best partner I could ever ask for. So, when he was so supportive and he asked me to marry him, and he was like I felt it felt really freeing to be with a person who was so supportive and could give me the confidence to share my journey and to share everything. So I just kind of told him, I'm like, look, I don't want to use she, they anymore. I just want to use they, them, but I'm concerned about my family. I'm concerned about this. And you're like, why? Why are you concerned about this? And I'm like, well, and then he's like, no, because, and I'm like, uh, he's basically telling me these things that I should have been telling myself. I should have been saying, like, I shouldn't care what people think. I shouldn't care what society puts upon me. And he could kind of bounced my thoughts back at me. And I'm like, why am I thinking this way? And so, what I decided to do in February of 2021, I decided to come out as non binary. Um, in February of this year, yes. And I posted a video on my YouTube channel. Uh, um, and I called it Two Big Announcements originally. And it was announcing my engagement and also announcing like, "Hey, I'm non-binary. Use 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 those pronouns." And I got a lot of support from my family and people who commented on that video, and I was kind of blown away because I thought so much that uh, what was on the outside would match the thoughts that I was having on the inside, if you get what I'm saying. Like, people would say, "Oh, no, you're faking it. Oh, no, you're not really who you say you are." And I'm like, "Well, gosh darn it. All the support I'm getting from my family, like, this is kind of the best possible outcome, I'd say." And I still had a few people who were a little slow to understand, especially older members of my family. Um, but I also decided not to use my dead name a few months ago, and it's has been uh a journey to kind of grapple with that as well because a name is such an identifier for me, and to change it made me feel like I was betraying my parents and made me feel weird about it. And I'm like, it's just a name. Like, I could call myself Potato and people would still love me
Yeah.
because they want to support me.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have the last name Onions because that's my partner's part of his last name, and I
Oh,
really like it, so I'm glad it's a part of my name. Um, but anyway, like a name is just a name for me, and sometimes like finding that name and realizing that that sudden click with my name was so it made me so elated. It it was indescribably happy, free. It was so freeing to kind of shed that burden of my dead name, to use Ren, to say Ren, to have people call me Ren, to have people use they them for me, to actually feel like I have a choice in this and I have like agency over my own identity. It's amazing to finally be free. Um which is all I can really say about it. Uh Yes, that's kind of my experience. It's like very, very early in my experience, and I've had such a good support system, uh, and I'm so fortunate that, like, I live where I am now, and I have such a supportive partner and my family and my partner's family and all my friends are supportive and it's it's amazing and I just really wish uh I just really wish that everybody's experience could be like mine because it's it's like it's the most gratifying feeling in the world to be your authentic self, and that's all I'm gonna say. It was a long explanation, but I feel like it, yeah, it really expressed how I feel, so
absolutely. No, that's awesome. That warms my heart to hear that you had such a good coming out and such a good like wholesome experience with you know, it feels good to be wrong sometimes. And it feels like this is one of those instances where it's good to be wrong, where you kind of build up this almost monster in your head of this reaction that you're going to get from people. And when it all happens and your heart's racing and everything, and it comes out and you get this outpouring of support and everybody is just giving off this warm energy, that is just something that you can't buy that. You can't pay to have that experience.
no, you can't put it in a box and sell it, like, you it's something that it has to be experienced or has to be, like, understood within you because it feels so good. It's euphoric.
Yeah, it really is. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you've had a really good time of it. I also wish that many other people could have an equally um, welcoming
Mhm.
time into this community. Sadly, that's not the case for a lot of folks, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that as we move on, as you were telling your story, it kind of made me think that, as we move on to newer generations, we're going to see a lot more of this level of acceptance come around. The few last holdouts are going to be easy to, get past it, and we're going to see that this is becoming a more normalized thing. The non-binary folks
Yeah.
are just as accepted as binary folks, and that's how it is. And I'm hoping that as we see Gen Z start to like raise kids, we'll
Mhm.
we'll see that level of acceptance and that level of societal acclamation. I'm really excited for the next couple years. I think we've got good times ahead of us.
Yeah. I'm hopeful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the kind of the last gasp right now of the anti-trans kind of legislation going on. It,
Yes.
what's happening in like Texas and stuff like that. They're just trying to like shoot out everything as much as possible, and just trying to get something to stick. And once they get something to stick, that's the one they're gonna run with. But I'm seeing that these policies aren't widely supported by society. It's just the parts of society that find it opportune to go out to these like school board meetings, right, and actually make their voices heard.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Yeah.
were to poll everyone, right, like these would not be popular policies. No, but if you just poll the
No.
people that go to the school board meetings, I don't
Yeah.
know. That draws a kind of person, I don't know.
Yeah, like yeah.
So,
It's a type of person who would like to vocally be hateful and bigoted and just kind of want to see their way or the highway, you know?
right. Yeah, this obsession with having control and stuff like that. It's all too common. I see it a lot. But we can move on to something a little bit more brighter of a topic. I know we talked a little bit about your YouTube channel earlier. Do you have any other projects or fun things that you're working on?
Um, yeah, I do have I'm trying to kind of build up a Instagram, or a bookstagram as they say in the community, book community. Um Yeah, I'm trying to kind of figure out how to create content for that because it's definitely more like short form, um, and like vertical video oriented and less more like snappy type thing, get to the point and long form content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also feel like writing again and kind of creating more blog posts and more like kind of essay, like book reviews or like analysis content. So I'm hoping to do that. Um, yeah, and I haven't really chosen a platform for like my blog. But I'm hoping to create more and more written content to kind of share my experience and kind of make people aware of others' experience. I want to do like maybe author interviews or like interviews of like people who also create. And yeah, I'm really excited for the future of my creative content.
I'm excited too. I'm always excited to hear of more trans creators. I think we need to have all kinds of trans and non binary creators across the spectrum. It's just like a lot of times we would see this when, before, like, gay marriage was a thing, right? Before it was like legal and the Supreme Court did their thing or whatever, like you would see this kind of like, we need to promote these kind of artists and stuff like that. We need to get their works out so that we can get that perspective out, so that society understands that perspective, right? And that is what I'd like to see, is that we get enough people out here to tell enough stories that people start to understand trans people are just people. We're just people with different needs,
Yeah.
with just a slightly different healthcare needs sometimes. Like, that's just how it is. So yeah, I'm hoping we get to there
Yeah.
soon.
I do hope we get to there. I recently showed my partner the documentary Disclosure,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really I found it before it came out. I was watching it and I was like I was amazed at the amount of really people who because trans people have been in like movies um and like shows for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but they haven't really been depicted really very nicely or
Mm-hmm.
represented very nicely. But I think including positive uh, people positive representations of trans people and non-binary people in media can help these sort of real life issues that
Hmm.
which kind of the documentary kind of proved. But I think like it's it's really helpful for people, for creators to know that your stories matter, and if you want to share them, there's people who want to see that, who have that lived experience, who wanna see that positive representation so they can show that to people and say, "Hey, like, this is like me, and this is my community, and this is who we are. We're not the bad guy, we're not, we're just people."
Yeah. I find that a lot of trans people and non binary people and otherwise queer people search for a long, long time to try to find
Yeah.
something that really resonates with them, And
Mhm.
I fear that, if we don't get enough, trans content out there and showing that perspective, that might, kind of smolder out a little bit. I mean, trans people will always
Yeah.
exist, but to what extent
Mhm.
they exist is variable. Like we can exist
Mhm.
as a closeted type of people where we're not societally accepted and we kind of have to go underground and all that, or we can exist as a societally accepted people, and that's the kind of future that I want to see. But if we don't promote other trans perspectives, we're not going to get to that point. So that's what I'm hoping
Exactly.
we see here soon, and I'm hoping that more people find stuff that resonates with them, because
Yeah,
that's
and
really important.
that's that's what I try to do, in all aspects, like, I try to share with people, like, through my channel and stuff, like, "Hey, um, there's a lot of trans authors out there. There's a lot of non-binary authors out there, and they're telling these amazing stories, and not everybody hears about them." And I really wanna focus on that um, and kind of share the love around, because if we don't, then, like you say, like, we're gonna kind of smolder out, like, what's gonna be the next thing that people wanna consume, but we wanna be still out there, we wanna be represented, we wanna be treated like human beings because we are human beings.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's really all a lot of us are asking for, is just to be treated as
Mhm.
equals and just to be
Yeah.
treated as humans. And I think it's sad that a lot of people can't just do that. Like,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Ooh. Um, so anyway, do you have any topics that you'd like to talk about today? Anything on your mind?
Um, well, um, I nothing particularly is on my mind. But yeah, nothing really is on my mind at the moment. I just kind of like came on here to kind of uh you know, just kind of have a like a real conversation, because uh it's I find it like hard to um I don't know if it's just like a myself experience. I find it hard to like actually find people on the internet that are really open to having like just a really great discussion about stuff in this sort of space. I'm sure there's a lot of people. It's just like it's hard for me to kind of put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that I did, and I just wanted to say that thank you very much for having me on your show, because it's truly it makes it makes my day whenever I see that and see your videos in my sub box, and um, it makes my day whenever I see you tweet or like just kind of share awareness and kind of share the news and be friendly and just have a great personality about it, and I just wanted to bring up that.
Thank you. I'm gonna start crying a
You're
little bit. Oh
welcome.
my
Oh,
gosh.
don't cry.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. Yeah, that's my goal is to kind of just like bring up the news and just, make trans people aware of what's going on in our community and then
Mhm.
have discussions with people and bring
Yeah.
trans people on and show that's what I want to do. I'm not very creative. I can't write. I can't draw. I'm not an artist by any means, but I can do this. And
Yeah.
I want to share other people's experiences. So I want to have a whole bunch of people on and give them an opportunity, a platform to talk about their experience because that's another thing that I want to do is help people find things that resonate with them, help people find stories that make them remind themselves that make them remember like their own selves, like that make them feel like some kind of connection with that. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve with a lot of these longer form discussions is that people will, watch them and see something that really resonates with them, and they'll be like, "Hey, look, go watch this. This is like how I feel." And then their
Yeah.
friends can go watch the episode and see like and have a better understanding of who this person is, and that's the kind of goal that I set out for. And so I really, really
Yeah.
thank you for being on. You offer a really valuable opinion and I'm happy to have you on again. I love talking about books with you. I'd love to talk to you after you've read A Man Called Uwe. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll definitely keep my eye out for it in the library and like yeah, it's oh, it just makes me so happy when people are happy about making content and like even if as you say you're not a writer, you're not a creative person, you're being a creative person by doing this. It takes a lot of like stamina and like guts to like put yourself out there and like be such a pedestal for people who want to share their story, and you're really making good within this community, and I feel like you should really um feel good about that. Yeah. So
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping to have a lot more people on as well. I'm hoping this goes on for a while. And even if I
I
just
hope
end
so
up
too.
doing just the like interviews or something, I think I'll keep doing that at least. Even if I end up stopping anything else, I still want to do these interviews, no matter
Yeah.
what. So I think these are really important. So yeah,
Mhm.
thank you again so much for being on. It means the world to me, truly.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime.
Well, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I've got some appointments to get to as well, so I'll guess we can go ahead and wrap up here. I do thank you all for coming out to Friendly Friday. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves and others. And as always, stay unique.